hereby call to order the board workshop of the Board of Trustees of the East Central Indian School District being held on October 9th, 2025, and beginning at 5 p.m. to order. Madam Secretary, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ginger Friesen,
Here.
David Santos,
Yes, ma'am, here.
Randall Gerhart,
Here.
Dennis Mulkey, Edwin Sellers here, Emilia Caressa,
I'm here.
and Malik. Megan.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the fair and catch.
Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for this day, Lord. We just thank you for the many blessings that you continue to bestow on us, Lord. We just ask you to continue to provide a hedge of protection for our students and our staff, Lord, for this long weekend. Let's just ensure that our staff gets the restored, renewed, that they need to continue on, Lord. We ask that you keep everyone safe on their way back to school on Tuesday, Lord. Lord, we just ask that you continue to bless this meeting and make it meaningful, that it will continue to bring honor to your name, Lord. We just ask you to provide protection as everybody needs this meeting. It's his name we pray. Amen. Let's stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Any other public comments?
No.
So, section 5, item 5.1, FFA agricultural issues presentation.
Yeah, trustees, I'm excited to invite our ag issues team from the FFA. As many of you recall, they prep every year, and they look for audiences to present their issue to and answer questions and get feedback from as they prepare for their competition season. So, welcome. We'll give you guys the floor.
Thank y'all so much for having us. First of all, my name is Miss Landrum. I am one of the agriculture education teachers at East Central High School. I am a former East Central High School graduate, so some of you may have seen me do this when I was in high school, but we're back now. With this project, this is something our students work on every single year. It is counted as a FFA, or Future Farmers of America program, which is a CTE program focused on developing leadership and career skills. Today, we're focused a little bit more on leadership and our speaking abilities. What this team focuses on is in the fall, their focus is to choose a topic related to agriculture and discuss the pros and cons of that topic, and also reach out to our community and educate our community based on that topic. Their job today is not to make sway you one way or the other. Their job today is to just inform you of the topic and allow you to make your own decisions. At the end, we will have time for questions. We've been preparing for a couple weeks now, so this is our second presentation that we're doing in front of a live audience. So we're still greasing the wheels a little bit, I'll put it that way. So give us some grace, but we're very excited. We have 6 students up here. They are all juniors to seniors at East Central High School. They're all part of our FFA program, and they're all very, very actively involved in other programs as well, such as the dance team, such as Green Team, Spanish Honor Society, all kinds of things. So they're very involved, and we're very excited to have them here today. Do y'all have any questions before we begin? Awesome. It'll be about 15 minutes. We'll have 5 people speaking, and all 6 will answer questions at the end.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We're here today to present a balanced discussion on a topic growing in urgency within rural America, the right to repair movement and its impact on agricultural equipment and technology. This issue affects farmers across the country, especially here in Texas, as modern agricultural equipment becomes more dependent on proprietary software, expensive repairs, and restrictive manufacturing policies. In 2025, this issue has taken center stage. More states are introducing legislation, and farmers are pushing back against manufacturers' control over the tools they use every day. But like any issue, there are 2 sides. Today we'll explore the 3 major advantages and the 3 significant concerns regarding the right to repair and how it impacts agriculture, technology, and the future of farming. Finally, we will leave it to you to decide. Should large corporations continue enforcing these restrictions that limit the
farmers' ability to repair their own equipment, or should society push these challenges to reshape the repair industry, potentially redefining both modern agricultural practices and the wider U.S. economy?
Good afternoon and welcome to Bexar County Agri-Life Extension Agency. We are glad you could join us to share your perspective on the right to repair movement. My name is Ava Esquivel and I'm honored to hear your input on this important issue. The right to repair, especially in relation to electronics and farm equipment, has become a pressing topic across the United States and particularly here in Texas, where debate carries many pros and cons. As we begin, please remember it's an informative discussion. Please remain respectful and hold all questions to the end. Let's begin with introductions. On today's committee, we have 4 representatives, 2 speaking in favor and 2 speaking opposed. Representing our pro side is...
Good afternoon. My name is Irene Perryman. I am a 5th generation cotton, hay, and wheat farmer. My family owns roughly 511 acres on which we plant, grow, and harvest these crops in mass production each year using several different types of large machinery.
My name is Addison Diaz, and I am representing the perspective of the everyday community member. I manage a small 10-acre hobby farm, though I am not employed full-time by the agricultural sector.
Representing our defendants are...
My name is Ariana Diaz. I speak for John Deere, and I represent the rights and interests of large machinery companies that supply the products in this discussion.
And my name is Sarah Long. I serve as a legal counsel for Apple Technologies. Today I am representing the liability concerns for both corporations and business leaders alike.
Thank you for having us. To begin, we will first present our main points on both sides. Please introduce your main points for today's discussion. Pro side?
Our argument will focus today on 3 main points. Pro point number 1, financial independence. Pro point number 2, environmental sustainability. And pro point number 3, consumer empowerment.
Con side, please proceed.
Today, our argument will focus on the following points. Compoint number 1, monetary implications. Compoint number 2, liability. And compoint number 3, property protection.
Before we begin, let's set the stage. The right to repair movement, growing since the 1990s, has recently gained state and national attention. It argues that consumers should control how and when to repair products without relying on manufacturers. This includes access to necessary repair tools or information. 5 states have currently passed the right to repair laws, and over 23 more are considering legislation. House Bill 2963 will take effect on September 1st, 2026. It prevents companies from voiding warranties for independent repairs and requires them to release repair tools or information for electronics over $50. With that, let's begin our discussion. Pro side?
Thank you, Ava. We believe the right to repair is vital for our country and world. To begin, our first point is financial independence.
Farmers already operate on thin profit margins, earning just 15.9 cents per food dollar according to the National Farmers Union. Because farming tasks like planting, spraying, and harvesting are time sensitive, equipment breakdowns are extremely costly. John Deere, which controlled 53% of the tractor market in 2022, as reported by PIRG.org, has increasingly made its machinery more reliant on electronic systems while restricting repair access. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has noted that Deere's exclusive advisor system prevents many repairs outside its network, effectively monopolizing repair services.
Repairs through John Deere's network can cost about $60 more per hour and take months longer than independent options. In August 2025, Deere released Operation Center Pro, replacing the closed advisor system. But it comes with sky-high machinery prices, $195 per machine annually for farmers and nearly $6,000 for independent providers. According to PIRG.org, U.S. farmers lost an estimated $4.2 billion in repair costs in 2023. The question remains, can the average farmer afford these added expenses?
Overall, being able to make repairs independently or through local shops rather than relying solely on dealership chains provides greater financial freedom and faster service.
With that, we will begin point 2, an analyst on the environmental sustainability of an economy that promotes replacement over repairs. Take smartphones as an example. According to the Stanford Medical Journal, the average age of an individual gets their first phone is ages 10 to 12. With the average smartphone having a lifespan of just 2 to 3 years according to Apple, and Americans living roughly to 78 according to CDC. That means one person could go through about 22 phones in their lifetime alone. Multiply that by a state, a community, and even the country, and the result is not only costly for families, but also a major concern in environmental sustainability.
Cell phones are vital for everything, from monitoring cattle to marketing decisions, yet they're treated as disposable. If repair systems were made more accessible, we could shift from viewing devices as consumables to long-term investments. History proves this is possible. During World War II, the Salvage for Victory campaign emphasized recycling and repair, a mindset echoed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Reviving that approach today could help cut the 59 million pounds of e-waste entering U.S. landfills each year, according to NRDC.org.
This mindset of repair over replacement is vital to our world and this generation of consumable products. The strategic integration of these ideals not only enhances Texas environmental sustainability, but also underscores the significance in sustaining and driving that same mindset within the United States average consumer, reinforcing its critical role in the broader national agricultural landscape.
The final point we'll speak on today is how the right to repair empowers consumers in the purchasing process, making them more involved with the industry supplying these items.
For generations, innovation has been driven by consumers' desire to create or design equipment to serve their needs, and with the ideal in mind to work smarter, not harder. From John Deere, a blacksmith creating the steel plow in 1837, to Henry Ford, an entrepreneur establishing the use of the assembly line in 1913, to even Anna Baldwin, an American dairy farmer, inventing the milking machine in 1897. Producers have always been one of the driving forces behind the innovation because they themselves will reap the benefits. Without the ability to repair their own machines, how will these pieces of equipment evolve? How will they become more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly in the agricultural industry if the agricultural industry loses more and more resources, land, and support?
As of 2025, older farm machinery is skyrocketing in value because it's easier to repair than newer tech-heavy models. This shows consumers reclaiming control through refurbishment. The Digital Right to Repair Act now requires devices to be repairable and sets standards for future innovations, according to NCSL.org. With over 3.5 million patents published in the agri-food sector in the past 20 years, limiting repair access would restrict progress to major corporations.
To conclude, we believe that the right to repair movement is essential to protecting the future of our society at not only the national, but state and even community levels as well. The positive impacts that this offers financially, environmentally, and developmentally to the consumer are undeniable. Join us in the support of these laws as they protect and help a future for us all. Ava?
Thank you, Irene Addison, for your viewpoint. We will now turn to our minutes to present the negative implications of the right to repair movement and associated laws. Ariana?
Thank you. We believe that the right to repair infringes on our rights as participants in the U.S. economy. While our counterpoints pointed out some of the positives, there are important negatives that cannot be avoided. Most notably, the right to repair laws could have serious monetary impacts on businesses, both large, small, nationwide, and globally.
Large corporations argue that releasing private design information risks their competitive advantage and market power. Allowing outside repairs could lower entry barriers for new, original equipment manufacturers, cutting its revenue. For example, Apple limits repairs to circuit units to protect both its technology and long-term profits. A decline in revenue could mean layoffs, factory closures, and harm to communities. Apple reports supporting 2.9 billion jobs in the U.S. and is currently building a new Texas factory. Do we want to jeopardize careers, livelihoods, and communities for self-repair access?
In 2021, President Biden signed an executive order directing the FTC to prevent manufacturers from restricting independent or DIY repairs. This order inspired similar laws in the U.S. and the U.K., aiming to boost competition and benefit consumers. However, critics argue it could backfire. OEMs may raise prices or change production methods to offset loss by creating a double negative impact. For example, Apple reportedly increased the cost of replacement parts for their iPhone model after expanding access to self-repair options, potentially discouraging consumers from using the service.
Overall, forcing the release of such information would drastically decrease company long-term profit margins and could place many communities in financial ruin, causing exponential damage across the U.S. Do we really wish to infringe on the economy of the United States with these outlandish laws?
This leads us to our second concern, potential liability and safety risk if untrained professionals access proprietary information to repair machinery. Safety features protect users and unqualified repairs could compromise them. How can we as a company safeguard ourselves if a serious accident or fatality from such repair parts, fatality results from such repair?
Modern farm equipment, though still called tractors, are highly complex machines raising safety and repair concerns. A study by the National Association of Manufacturers warns that giving individuals unregulated access to central control systems could disable key functions, making equipment non-compliant with federal safety and environmental laws, increasing injury risk. A 2019 survey by the Equipment Dealers Association found that 1/3 of the dealers reported serving equipment with illegal modifications, nearly half of which involve disabling emissions control systems for better performance. Would the manufacturers be liable for these issues?
Original equipment manufacturers already provide manuals, websites, and other resources to help consumers repair products without compromising safety. In a 2021 interview, John Deere's Chief Technology Officer stated that the company enables consumers to fix 98% of malfunctions with only 2% manufacturer-only software support. Since the creation of modern technology, there have been restrictions, not only to keep the manufacturer or OEM's investment safe, but we must realize it is also there to keep the consumers safe as well.
Lastly, our final point highlights that the right to repair movement destroys any protection of proprietary information for future innovation or development of products. By forcing companies to release materials to allow for private repairs, you are removing copyright protections and potentially allowing for the stealing of key information to create competitive devices.
The right to repair movement, while thought to be an agriculture equipment issue, is actually an argument about property rights. John Deere, for example, uses engine control units, but withholds repair information to protect its intellectual property. Critics call this a monopoly, but property rights are rarely black and white. For instance, when you buy a CD, you own the CD, you own the disc, but not the music rights. Similarly, while you may own a smartphone or a tractor, the company still controls the software inside, known as intellectual property rights, limiting the purchaser's power to determine decisions such as repair options.
Copyrights and patents grant creators exclusive rights to protect their work according to U.S. law. Forcing companies like Apple, Microsoft, and John Deere to release protected repair information risks undermining that protection. John Deere, for example, spent $549 million on research and development since 2024, according to a report filed in April of 2025. If we force the release of that information, how long till it is used to create a more competitive piece of equipment at a fraction of the research investment cost? How long till companies like John Deere, which have invested so much, file for bankruptcy?
To conclude, I leave you with these final questions. Will you join the resistance against businesses like ours? Will you support dismantling proprietary protections? Are you willing to risk the safety of hundreds, if not millions, by allowing untrained individuals to repair complex large-scale machinery? Don't undermine the countless hours of innovation and development invested by these companies.
Thank you, Ariana and Sarah, for your viewpoint. This brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. Supporting the right to repair means championing customers' financial freedom, boosting environmental sustainability, and empowering consumers. On the flip side, it means standing with businesses facing serious financial challenges, liability risk, and the need to protect proprietary technology. The choice is clear, but also complex. We leave you with this final question.
Which side will you stand on?
Thank you.
Well, your group of questions now.
No, I have a few. So this format is our questions can be about the topic or anything, right? This is not going to be like videos that are cast and everything. This format, is this what y'all chose to do? Because I was thinking maybe we can have a pro and then a con against each other, like in the.
Yes, ma'am. So it's the thing that we do with the issues is a pro and con side. It's not really an argument between each other. It's more we're going to tell you the pros and we're going to tell you the cons, and it's something that you can decide. So it's kind of the form that is with this team.
The final presentation, does your audience know the topic beforehand, or y'all give them all the information? And they
We try to give them like all the information on what we're speaking. So we tell them that's what our introduction is about. We tell them like what we're going to be talking about and like giving the topics of like the discussion that we're going to be talking about, and that's when we let the pro side talk and they let our side talk, and y'all get to choose like what y'all talk about.
Adding on to that, normally when we do go to contest, our advisor will let them know what we're doing, but they don't really know about the topic unless, they study that topic. But normally they do not know what our topic is fully about, and we just inform them more on what if you own a tractor or anyone that is involved in, say, large machinery, you can either, our thing is about choosing whether you want to repair it yourself or you want to go pay for someone else to repair it. And say if some husband had, a tractor, he could have his tractor repaired on, or he can work on it himself. But that's what we're discussing is what should be the right thing to do. Should you repair it yourself, or should there be laws against it?
And adding on to her, like it could really be for anyone. It doesn't really have to be for companies with those types of tractors and stuff like that. It could be for anyone. It's really just a discussion of would you rather do it yourself or have someone pay that knows a little bit more about what's going on with your product.
I want those slides. Seriously, I'm very involved. The side I'm on is the side of the ecology and environmental protection and all of that. I'm involved in, I don't know if you're familiar with Echo America, but they're obviously I think that the environmental part of this is not relevant or whatever. And so I'm very excited to look at the statistics that bear out what, the safety and all of that. And it's interesting to me to compare John Deere and Apple, which are big conglomerates, but John Deere apparently is looking at the consumers and not just the consumer, but the environment and everything else, and spending a lot of money trying to, keep that safety and still accomplish what needs to be done. And I understand property, patent rights and all of those things, but we've got to a place where you almost have to have that, or somebody will take it away, and then they'll do and they'll still make more money, or whatever the case may be. So I really appreciate your dedication and your research that you've done to prove your point and show both sides. So,
I'll go next, and I'm going to pick on Ariana and Sarah. So you two just assume that you own 1,000-acre ranches and you're trying to save a buck wherever you can. You wouldn't try to repair your own tractors and equipment, just right? No different than any of us going to, a self-repair shop.
Well, when it comes to that, say if I were to have, as you said, 1,000 acres, and say if I had multiple machines, I wouldn't want to risk trying to fix my own machine and then breaking it even more. So I'd rather take it to a place that knows how to do it right, knows how to do it first, and I'd let them repair it. And yes, I know that, you gotta save money. Saving money is the best option. But when it comes to it, you might end up spending more money if you don't do it right the first time. So.
Do you all have a time limit for your presentation?
Yes, ma'am, it's 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Did you make it today?
How did you time it?
You're right at 14 there, a little fast today. Y'all did excellent. I was listening as fast as I could, but it was so much information that I wanted y'all to slow down a little bit, but I know now that you can't.
That is the thing that we have to work on. We're trying to get
Yeah,
used to
we're
it.
trying to
Balance it out.
so we can't talk too fast, but we also can't talk the pace that we want to, because we might go overtime, and we don't want to take too much of y'all's time. So we're just trying to balance it out.
It was great. It was fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There may have been a slide where y'all might have said billion and the slide said billion or vice versa.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, billion and
Yeah, so you might want to just check the accuracy of the slide, just to make sure it's consistent.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that one of the slides?
One of the slides,
With the million, billion.
yeah,
Says billion in one spot.
great job. Very clear, very succinct.
So are we supposed to say or before?
I mean, you can tell us what you want.
I don't know, I think I know where you're at. I'm with you. I agree, I don't want to touch it. I want a professional to work on it that knows the ins and outs and how we built it. And why am I going to mess it up? Y'all are good at that.
I
experience to know what to do and what not to do. And you talked about how much it would cost. You lost your fingers, and I've seen.
It's hospital bills.
Yeah, no doubt. You can't go twice that way. So the question I had for you guys is, look at y'all's competition. How much more preparation time?
I mean, look, they're 2 weeks in and
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I think our district contest is off. No, October 13th. November, yeah, November 13th. As in, I don't have.
We dialed in already?
You guys send us or send myself a invite, I'd love to go see.
And I like I never really think about Apple, it's my phone, but it is their software and their.
That's why you need to switch.
So I like that. That will never happen.
I have both.
Very relevant. And, I mean, we have the director of technology, and the
Yeah.
director of maintenance in here. And, I mean, I can think of things that we have to, in our school district, apply. I mean, air conditioning, technology. We have these same issues with the advancement of the technology on how to use them and to implement them. I would say if you could somehow include training for the mass people, because we don't have enough people that know how to in the industry prepare them.
There you go.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I want to go to Washington with y'all when you're
We'll be posting it for next time.
No, it's okay. We're gonna be out.
On the website, go to the
Thank you for
our
catching
website,
that.
our board, school board. You'll see all the archive meetings, so within the next 7 days, it'll be posted.
Okay, I never knew about that.
There you go. So if you ever have trouble finding entertainment, you can watch more.
Thank y'all for coming.
Great job, sweetheart. Great job.
use some of y'all stuff.
I'm a big fan of that. Go forward, screwdriver, and I'll open up. That's it.
Sure do.
Thank you so much.
Great job, Blake.
Yes, sir.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
Good luck to you.
Okay, we'll look into that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't even miss you.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Of course. Thank you so much, Mr. Adams. I appreciate it.
Next, we have item 5.2, new transportation metering.
Yeah, trustees, you have an electronic copy of this slide presentation. We just wanted to bring back to the board the actual renderings for the transportation facility now that we're on the cusp of getting this project to break ground after a long string of really fun permitting exercises. Light at the end of the tunnel here for this project. So wanted again to make sure the board was comfortable with the design of the facility. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Gonzalez to provide the board with a review of the final renderings.
And I'm really sad that Mr. Mulkey's not here tonight because he seems to be the one who's been the most interested in the transportation. But Mr. Gonzalez said, I kind of just wanted to go over with you where we are in the plans. We've got some presentation 87. Most of you know where it is, but if not, you'll see it's off of 87, the frontage road of 87 going east to west. You'll see that on the right side is the storage facility that's already built there and laid out. That might help you get context as to where it's located. And then on the back side, we neighbor the property or the subdivision Annabelle Ranch. Those are residences, those are houses that are already there. And then on the left side, we understand that acreage has already been sold and we think it's gonna be a convenience store gas station. We have very diligently planned to make sure that there is enough buffer space between the convenience store and our facility. Coming from the east to the west, we have worked very diligently also with TxDOT to make sure that we are not hindering traffic or that we've taken into account the traffic with the buses that are gonna be coming down and up 87. So the deceleration lane will be extended, entering our property, and also coming from west to east toward the facility, and the crossover will also be expanded to allow for easier access to the buses through that crossover. So the actual site is about a little over 14 acres. Oh, it's not working? Okay, well, I'll just proceed on the next, on your, oh, there we go. Thank you. So then the next slide, you'll see, again, it changed locations a little bit. Highway 87 is over here on your left. This is the actual site, the way it's gonna, with everything on it. You'll see that there is a location for a possible future building. That is acreage that is going to be empty there, but we have purchased 14 acres. That's prime real estate for something in the future possibly. You'll also see that it is all enclosed with fencing. Even the employees that come in through the one entrance, there'll be two entrances and only one exit to the facility. The entrance at the top will be where most of the buses are coming in and most of the employees. The employees' parking will be right there in the front, but they will only be able to access the building through the secured fencing with the little blue arrow. That's gonna have access control, and if you know what access control is, it's that badge that you have to swipe in order to get into the facility, so it will be secure. Then the actual building itself with space for future building, and then it says 120, but that will be 150 parking spaces for buses at this location. We also have our fueling station and a covered area for bus washing. Currently, this is an automated bus wash where they will just drive through and wash the vehicles, that we no longer will have to have a person spraying and washing. So that is that.
Quick question on there, and I think Anthony answered my own question because I see the arrows with flow. So they'll pull in and then back into the slot of the buses?
Correct.
Okay.
But we've designated the parking spaces, and also there will be very clear markings so that there is no interaction, that it's gonna be very easy for them to pull up and then back into their space.
Didn't we talk about new admin building or boardroom?
Yeah, so that right there at the front of that, near that entry, that's kind of the footprint for where that would be in the future.
And we strategically put, if you can see there, Ms. Riesenhahn, there's space to allow for adding future parking there for the front building and also on the back, and also towards the back, future buses. As you know, this facility is going to service for the next 50 years, so we have the potential on this property to grow and add more spaces for parking, for employees, and also for buses. Just to mention also, since that back area named the Annabelle Ranch, we're making sure that that fencing is very attractive to the neighborhood also, and that if they can see over, that there's a really nice buffered area that will be landscaped so that it's pleasing.
How much of the 14 acres is this footprint going to be, I guess,
The initial?
Yes, ma'am. You said there's room for growth.
Yes, there is actually the expansion of the building, the expansion of the parking, the expansion of the actual driveway out, which goes into gives us a back entrance or exit, if you will. So probably I would ballpark an extra unused, maybe it'd be less than 5 acres.
On the back end primarily.
If I were to break it out as a percentage.
It's gonna take up most of it.
Yeah, but this is actually gonna take up most of it.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not a question, Stevie. How many buses do we currently have?
At our current facility at Base 1, we have about 85. At Base 2, which we'll still continue to use, you know, Base 2 is over by Tradition and Valor. We have some of our buses over there that will continue to flow out of there. With 150 spaces and room to grow, we think it's going to be adequate for the next 20 years.
Excellent.
Base 2 has a lot of capacity.
Okay.
With unused parking lots.
Currently, yeah.
Drivers have to stand their backs to get through that.
Correct. Yeah, for safety reasons, I mean, we want to make sure that even though there's no students here, we want our facility to be safe. So it'll be fenced, it'll have access. There'll be a little area on the outside of the fence, and we think that could be for coaches that are using our buses on the weekends, that maybe leave their car there so they can have access. But then the coaches have access control also. So there'll be an entrance into, the next slide will show a little bit of, I think, the actual building, and then you'll see the staff entrance there, Mr. Gerhart. There's actually a little hub in the front where people who are working overnight will use their access control to be able to get in, drop their keys, leave it all secured, and be able to exit without an issue. So looking at the actual floor plan, the blue is the administrative offices, the front, the training room / break room during the day. The peachy color is the back of the house for the shop. Our foreman, our mechanics offices, and then you actually have the work bays. At our current location, we have about 6 work bays, but where we currently are, you can pull a bus in, but you can only leave the nose of another bus. So they're not able to get 2 buses in at the same time in the same bay. This facility will have 8 bays and will allow us to enter buses nose to nose so that they can work on more buses in a sheltered area. You'll notice on the back it also has area for expansion, but that's an outside area that they can also work at. If they're just waiting for parts, they can move a bus back in there. So work bays, future site also for administration expansion. If we find that in 20 years we need more offices over there, we have the space to do that.
Ms. Gonzalez, I'm trying to figure out, I see Highway 87. I know where Beck Road is, and I know where Four Seasons Storage, and I have Annabelle Ranch, Everly Estates. I'm missing where this actually is.
Directly across 106 Loop, right?
Yes.
If you're
Does that
on
help?
106, you can come straight across.
Oh, okay,
That
okay.
crossover you see there is that one from 107.
It's existing. Thank you, Mr. Gerber. Does
Okay.
that help?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Another question about the building.
Thank you.
It's gonna sound weird, but is there a relaxation room in there?
There is not, but we did think of that. There are spaces that they can convert to use for that if they need to.
I deal with that in my work.
We deal with that everywhere now, yes. So we didn't call it that. We do know that there is need at times. So we do have facilities that can be modified to
Doesn't sound weird. It sounded very concerning and we were concerned.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Too quiet, quite all.
We're in Rockland.
Okay, so these are just some of the exterior renderings of what the building will probably look like or close to from each direction so that you can see how attractive it's going to be. Another rendering from the top, as you can see the fencing here a little clearer as to where people will have access, where the security fence will be, where the gates will be, or some are layers of gates entering into the building. The front entrance also. Another shot. We picked these colors because we wanted it to be nice and clean looking. It is going to be primarily a metal building, but we think it's going to be fabulous. One more rendering. So this actually lets you see kind of what we envision the inside of the shop to be. You can see there how 2 buses can be brought in nose to nose. So there'll be 8 bays. What you can see or what we're not in these one reasons is gonna make things a lot easier for our mechanics is a lot of the fluids that are changed regularly on the buses are gonna come from the top of the seating. They're gonna be, installed with wheels and you can just pull the fluids over. So it's gonna be really a lot more, updated than what they currently have. Between each bay, that we have strategically planned for them to have space to have their toolboxes and everything they need right there. So it's gonna be much more functional for them. This is a rendering of the planning room. They can have professional development here, but it's also gonna serve as a conference, big conference area room, or sometimes even a break room for those that are there during the day. But we can have training here. And that's what we have for you.
Really nice.
I think so.
The staff part,
Uh-huh.
what should we use it, some of the stuff, is there any equipment for your vehicle?
If they use their access control, they can actually get to both sides. It's just sometimes when they're coming in at midnight after a train, after, they want easy access, so they can really have a choice to either one. Yeah. Well, there is gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, and Mr. Thomas, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there is still gonna be access for them to be able to get through to leave the bus, but not necessarily their car. Explain that.
Correct, yeah, we did do an after-hours section that they can only access with a badge swipe. We can keep them in that area and keep them from going into the rest of the transportation facilities. They can drop off keys and do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if they were to be granted access, they could actually park behind the fence itself for the weekend, say, or something like that, and then take a bus for that weekend and then come back and reclaim their car later. But typically what they would do is park in that whole parking area, manage the gate through their badge access and then that little vestibule.
Now y'all tell Mr. Hoagie.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, moving on to work session. 6.1, discussion of remote conferencing and remote homebound waiver.
Yeah, trustees, we have a student at Heritage that's got a pretty serious medical condition, going through some treatment that is immunosuppressive and makes the child medically fragile, and the frequency of that is bi-weekly. And so the child is being served through homebound, which is not atypical in these cases. But what is atypical is that because the child's immune system is compromised, they can't be around any other people. And so what we're doing is serving the child homebound, but through remote learning. And that's a request of the medical practitioners as well as the parents. So we're doing that. Currently, we're not receiving ADA funds for that. So we have to submit a waiver to TDA that under this extenuating circumstance, if the waiver is approved, we'll be able to continue doing what we're doing and receive attendance money. So we just wanted to bring that to your attention and for your consideration to allow us to submit that waiver for that purpose. And again, we are already servicing the child through remote conferencing. The child is receiving services and instruction. We're just currently not getting attendance money.
Absolutely. Thank you for explaining all that. Like a child
Correct.
at risk. But what about other kids that may find themselves in a very similar situation? Or will we re-evaluate each one on its own and still have to probably ask for a waiver? Or will we have a waiver open enough where if we find someone that fits the criteria, we would get, I was just curious how.
Yeah, so it would be a case by case. It is atypical in that normally in these situations, homebound is sufficient, but
Right.
because of
Right.
the nature of this particular treatment, is substantially medically at risk of around any other human.
Right.
And so in this particular case, yeah, so in the future, if there's others like this, we would service them remotely,
Yeah, right.
but would have to
Yeah.
submit a waiver for each each case
Yeah.
for TDA to authorize a medical. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Scott, I'm assuming that this is the first case we've had like this?
It is the first case we've had to this extent.
Alright, next item is 6.2, discussion of amendment to District of Innovation.
Yeah, we've talked about this for several months now, and what we last discussed was that the board was amenable to the recommendation from legal that we're not a district in the position currently to adopt the SLAC model for library materials and instructional material adoption, and that we would like to use the District of Innovation pathway to continue with our current methodology, albeit adding a policy review subcommittee of the board to review those titles that maybe were flagged. And so in the interim, what we did was take this to a vote of the DEIC, and the requirements for the DEI methodology is that it requires a vote of 2/3 approval of the DEIC. And we're bringing this back because we went through the exercise and the DEIC unanimously agreed with the board's direction on this matter. So we're bringing it back, having met the criteria for the District of Innovation requirements to authorize the board to continue with its current procurement of library materials and instructional materials, with the caveat that the board also has, again, added one more layer of the policy review subcommittee of the board to review those flag titles and that subcommittee will bring back to the rest of the board those recommendations for final approval, which we'll have actually at next week's meeting on the first set. We have to answer some questions about that.
I have a question about when y'all went to them, did you have to go to them about the grievance timeline?
We had to go to them about that as well.
So I know that's off topic, but I don't know if that was, it could have been the same timeframe when y'all got that approved or not.
All right, item 6.3, discussion of approval of materials testing for new elementary school.
Yeah, we've got several items here back to back that are regarding construction-related items, and they're pretty straightforward, but I thought that with Mr. Thomas here tonight, that it might be a good opportunity just to offer a little clarification about materials testing. I know that you're all probably relatively familiar with that service, but this materials testing service is a service that just requires us to evaluate providers for credentials and competence, and demonstrated that competence in the past, and that they're providing the service at a fair value. And so we're bringing this item with a recommendation and the provider having met all of those conditions. But before making that recommendation or stating the provider, I just thought we'd have Mr. Thomas talk a little bit about materials testing for the board's information.
Sure. Materials testing is a required thing on each of our jobs. What it is to validate the work that is being performed and making sure from an engineering standpoint that the welds are done properly, that the materials brought in for concrete meet the criteria, so that structurally the building integrity is going to be what they say it's going to be at the end. So it goes back to a lot of liability at the end of the day, that all these boxes have been checked off, everything is structurally sound, and all the materials used and the products themselves, materials, and how it was put together was done correctly, and it's validated through this process, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Who is I'm assuming it's a third party?
Yeah, it would be Arias and Associates.
Okay, that's where you were.
Yeah, is who we're recommending, and it's because they've demonstrated the ability to do the work, they're qualified, fair, reasonable price. We've used them in the past. You want to talk a little bit
All
about
our
our
elementary
experience?
schools areas has done them, because they've seen this prototype before, it kind of made sense for us, and they've given us, within reason, the same pricing structure that they've used in the past.
And this one would be for the elementary school number 10.
And help me with that, retain with that,
1346.
okay, perfect.
Any other questions on that? Okay. So the next item is another materials testing situation, and this one is for high school number 2.
Yes, sir.
And in this particular case, we're recommending Rhonda Kistner. Again, for the same reasons we've worked with them in the past. They're capable, qualified, and definitely provide that service. They're a reasonable price. I don't know if you have anything else to say about
Yeah, they're a
Rhonda
big
Kistner.
outfit, probably one of the bigger ones, and we've used them for a lot of our projects.
Here's another question, 6.5, discussion of approval of commissioning agent work related to new transportation facility.
Yeah, so again, here, we're talking about a service that requires, again, us to verify that they're competent, qualified, and that they're gonna do it at a fair, reasonable price. We're recommending Cleary Zimmerman Engineers to provide the commissioning, services for the new transportation facility, and Mr. Thomas talked a little bit about the commissioning.
So commissioning.
Scope of work.
Yeah, absolutely. Commissioning is also a requirement that we must follow. This is a group of engineers that make sure that all of our systems work within our school properly, meaning that the HVAC systems and the controls related to them, the fire alarms work correctly, all of the mechanical systems within the building are coordinated and working properly when they're handed over to the school district.
Question, why isn't that done prior to?
When you said prior to.
Yeah, well, just handing it over, setting everything up. You know, it's kind of like me taking my car to a mechanic and, you know, saying, I think it works, here's your keys. I mean,
So,
you know.
so we hire one group of engineers that actually do the design, and they approve everything through the build down. We hire a separate group of engineers to go back and verify all of the work. So it's an MEP engineer that does the mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems. It's another MEP engineer that verifies that all those systems are done correctly and they're working properly
Okay.
during the handover. So it's just a check and balance, if you will.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The next item is 6.6, discussion of increased asset capitalization threshold, CFB Local A.
Yeah, so there's been a change from the Office of Management and Budget, OMB. Basically, anything that we purchased with federal funds that was $5,000 in value had to be asset controlled. And so the changes made recently were to increase that to $10,000. And the purpose of that was to reduce administrative burden. And this is now the uniform guidance from both federal and state level organizations. So what that requires of us is an amendment to local policy, CFB local, which basically currently states $5,000. So we would be bringing this policy amendment to basically update it so it aligns with the Office of Management and Budget and the uniform guidance that was released this year. So that we're classifying individual capital assets at $10,000 value or more, as opposed to $5,000 value or more. Yeah, I can answer your questions. So anything, any kind of equipment, you know, a gator, for example, any kind of equipment in the kitchen, anything purchased with federal dollars. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If it's valued at $10,000 or more, then we have to classify it as a capital asset.
And it's been 5,000,
It's been $5,000 for forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was because we were just aligning again the Office of Management and Budget, uniform guidance, and so that just changed. And I think it has as much to do with just, it's been so long that the cost of goods is, the old 5,000 is now 10,000, really, more than anything.
Yeah, that's what I was confused.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right, item 6.7, discussion of increased districts purchasing and contracting authority threshold to TEC 44.031 CH legal and CH local.
Yeah, so this is kind of similar. It's just moving the procurement threshold from 50,000 to 100,000 before we have to come for board approval. And this was part of Senate Bill's 1173, which passed in this last session. And it allows for districts to opt in to making that change. It's been a $50,000 threshold forever. And so whether it's a one-time procurement or whether it's multiple procurements with the same vendor that reaches that $50,000 threshold, once it exceeds that $50,000 threshold, we would have to come to the board for approval. In this recommendation, it's amending CH Legal and CH Local to align with Senate Bill 1173, which moves it to a $100,000 threshold. And again, I think that it's as much to do with yesterday's 50,000 as today's 100,000. And so we're reaching that 50,000 much quicker and much more frequently today than ever before. And I think that's the sentiment across the state. So that was the impetus for Senate Bill 1173.
All right. 6.8, discussion of donation from Athletic Booster Club.
Yeah, so the Booster Club, it's already in use, donated a automated basketball machine referred to as Dr. Dish. And the Dr. Dish is a tool machine that the basketball program has been dying to have. Basically, it moves, it passes balls back to the shooter in different locations, it keeps data, stats. You can program it to be stationary, you can program it for moving shots, and the shooter can move to different spots and then pass it back to him, shoot and pass it back to him. But it's over $5,000. So the board has to accept that donation, valued at $7,619. So per policy, it's for the board to accept. So that's what this is.
I wonder if Dr. Dish handles injuries.
Well, I don't know about that, but hopefully Dr. Dish
Probably not that
improves
low amount, right?
win-loss record. Shooting percentage. A lot less injuries when we win.
I mean, to me, if not, that's false advertising.
At least a lot less broken hearts.
That's a nurse question.
That's what I said.
Doctor, how dare you?
That's awesome.
All right, item 7 is executive session, 7.1, safety and security. The board ended its closed meeting at 6:49 p.m. on October 9, 2025. No action was taken in the closed meeting. Last item is adjournment.
Madam President, if I may, before we adjourn, I just wanted to she brought me something to remind me of it. It was the golden keys. And I just wanted to ask if you were all good with kind of dividing and conquering the remaining campuses for the Vader, so we can just be sure that we get the word out to everybody as best we can. We're running out of time, and I'm a little fearful, and I'm willing to do whatever I need to. If we can just kind of divide and see who's going to go where to support that. So,
Do y'all have enough information to know where they're scheduled? Do you
So
feel-
every day, use my Google Calendar, and I set my,
Nobody's surprised by that.
I'd like to turn and look at me.
because
I got you.
when I see that I have 40-something emails, it's because I know you added something. But I set mine to where I get the email when she adds something. And that goes up to, I check it a lot when I make my calendar for the, or make my schedule for the day here, but I also get the email when she adds something. So it keeps me aware of something new happening.
It is also on, well, it's on the hub, so you have access to the actual calendar of events. There is a column, there's one column that you don't put your names in. And it should have all of those presentations listed. I will double check that in the morning to make sure that they're all there. So it's on your calendar of events. It's on the Google Calendar. Yes, so you can put your name, there's a column where you can put trustees that are going to what.
right.
Yeah, and I haven't, so I got to do that. I haven't
So-
been utilizing, now I do go, I'm just not,
But what are you gonna say? You do go,
I plan on going to as many as.
but see, my point is to that has only been campus.
Right.
Yeah, and I
So
do
far,
know that
right?
you do have quite a few
And-
fall carnivals and stuff that are on there that definitely need to be divided and conquered because
Yeah, so all of
Yeah.
those,
No.
having said that, to that point, all of those events that are like the National Night Out the other night, like that, those are where we really need some supplementation. So carnivals,
And you can
trunk
tell
or
me you're
treats.
going, I will get you the flyers, if we have extra tablecloths or whatever, if we're gonna set up a table. Most of the schools have, said that they will provide a table, for us there, so you just need to come pick up flyers, let me know if I need to meet you or whatever.
I cannot go to Salado again because I cannot speak Spanish and I tried really hard. I learned the very few amount of words that I made work. I handed out some candy and talked to a lot of people. But we had a
My
table for that.
experience at our night out, it was kind of comical because they put me next to
Oh.
Jubilee.
Oh, nice.
And hey, cool. He
Everybody
even,
likes
he even
the
kind of took the chair
Ah.
that they loaned me, and he's like, you don't mind? I said, no, you stay
Of
right
course
there.
not, I don't
You
mind.
sit right there. I'm
I
like,
think that's
boom,
okay.
and I started going.
Yeah,
And
you
so I
sit,
had an
I'm gonna
opportunity,
stand.
yeah, you stay right there, stay comfortable, bud. And so I started going, and I'm gonna tell you, maybe 2 people went to their booth. And they were given, they had swag all over.
But you were getting
But I was
information.
given some information hard, and I'm gonna tell you, and of course, we have a very friendly neighborhood, and they understand, but, getting the word out, right? And so I will start getting on the hub and start putting my
I need to do
name,
it
you
too.
can kind of,
It's kind of my idea.
try to be
I'm
your
not
vote.
using it.
Super.
But I appreciate you bringing that up, let's do that, and let's get out there, because there's something about a school board member being out there,
Yeah.
people
Makes a difference.
look at it.
Makes a difference.
You know,
But let me say this, I was at Salado with Shane. I was never so proud. He did it at record time, it was relatable to all of the teachers while they were even having their snacks and all the
Yeah.
other things or whatever. I like 19 minutes or something like that and still had some time for questions or whatever. The statistic that stuck out in my mind, we gave some great statistics, that of educators, what did you say, 100 million?
There's a little over 1 million
Okay,
educators, public educators.
okay,
after
7% normally vote. That should have stuck to everybody. So if you get, and you'll learn every time you hear these things, and so you can share with your community
And we're
and stuff
open,
like that.
I'll let
But
you
yeah,
know.
it's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, public education, the other message we send is public education's on every ballot, so it doesn't matter, it's just important that everybody gets out.
He comes out of City Hall in St. Hedwig, and I'm like, have you done this before? Because they're so well versed and passionate. It's not just reading more statistics, it's passionate. So that's nice.
So,
That's out there,
Got
the
some.
passion that they have, and, yeah, it's
It's
awesome.
gonna take us all.
Yeah.
So 2 things real quick, it's not on the agenda, but these workshops are gonna, we can go.
Yes,
Do you remember, and this is embarrassing that I don't know which agency this was for, but the votes that we allocated from the district, we gave votes, and you spoke to somebody that you knew on that list, it was last year. Was it it was one of the boards, like in town, or the Bear County appraisal
Appraisal
district?
district?
Yeah, did we do that this year? Because Carol Harrell from Northside called me and asked who we gave our votes to, and I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea who we did that.
That is coming up. We did receive a letter that
So
we
she's
will
ahead of
use our
me.
votes, but we have not received the official, list to fill out and say, we want to take our 90 or 80 votes or whatever and give them this one and this one.
Right, okay.
But I do have it in the folder to watch out for.
Okay, and then, this might be a you question also.
Yes, ma'am.
So when picking up from the high school, you go to the guard shack, love him, by the way, talk about passion. And you check in with him, and if that front parking lot is full, you have to park like way.
Yeah, north parking lot.
Are we doing anything with that circle eventually, adding maybe more parking somewhere? I mean, we have to keep it for emergency purposes, but that's a big
Unfortunately,
area with all
yes,
those
ma'am.
concrete things to sit on and all that.
Unfortunately, that whole circle there is fire.
Has to stay.
Yeah, and that's not us doing that.
Right.
That's the state and Third County,
I
which
mean, it's
designated.
very nice to have if we were using it for what we
Right.
had it for to begin with, and not with the flow of
Yeah.
pickup and stuff, but Man, that's a big area, and I would like to park up close when I pick her up. I park illegally, by the way, so just so y'all know, if y'all see me on the curb.
Tow it.
Sorry.
And you notice, we have to put, I think it's still up there, police vehicles, emergency
Yes.
vehicles sign up there. Because even the fire marshal had a conversation with me and told him, well, no, the officer's on official duty, come on,
Yeah.
you know, we know there's a fire, we'll move.
Right,
So, yeah, they're real strict on that.
yeah, I was just thinking the other
You
day, I'm
gotta
like,
park.
golly, that's a
So,
long, that's a
You gotta
lot.
go.
So you're talking about like even just sporting events, we shouldn't be parking there, I guess.
I never park where the red is at on that curb, so
Well, that whole,
not all of
like maybe we can
where it lowers down.
designate.
I mean, if coach can jump up there.
We parked there.
Yeah, well, we, never asked permission or forgiveness, but.
We're gonna ask her.
Okay, never mind, we'll leave that topic.
That's all I have.
All right, then shall we adjourn?
Sure.
So I have a motion to adjourn.